Welcome, everyone. This is Planet News, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Sanswinda.
Hello.
Calabathian.
Hi.
Arendis.
Hey, everybody.
Guerendis.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. It is quite a rocky week we had this week, and we are going to begin with the servers looked like they're getting sick or something this week.
It's the Rona. The servers got the Rona, man. They needed to wear masks and social distance safely, and they didn't.
Well, it's the way they pack those servers in together at data centers. I have a feeling it's very hard to social distance yourself from the other servers.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, those poor servers all packed into those little shelves, and they're just bunched up. They're just like little sardines. I feel so sorry for them.
Yes, and of course the hamsters. I'm sure the hamsters are. It could be the hamsters that are getting sick.
The hamsters are getting the Rona? What?
Yes. So now we know what's going on there. Yes, it looks like there's must be a plague with the hamsters or something, because they are having troubles with servers all over the place. And there's certain servers that seem to be going out every day, I think, and there's some servers that have gone out on a couple of occasions. Just trying to keep up with which servers are out and which ones are on, because some of them are running all nice and fine, other ones are lagging, and other ones are down completely. So it's a real mixed bag on the whole thing. And in fact, one of the items they had in there was that on Friday night, because of the performance of the servers, the Lonely Mountain Band decided to postpone Weatherstock because they were afraid that the servers were not stable enough to handle their event, which, seeing how Langerball has been down this afternoon, is probably the best decision.
If things had been going timed right at all, I would have been in the midst of my performance when the server went down.
If they went on and
if the remediators had been on at about the time that they were supposed to be on, it's about when the servers went down.
Yeah, so you can understand that it was the right decision to postpone Weatherstock, and we can only hope that next week things will be stable enough so that they'll be able to run without any issues. I'm sure they'll be monitoring that. Standing Stone Games, I'm sure, is going to be trying to get things working by then. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how much Standing Stone Game knows. I don't even know how much people at the data center know. So we have to keep track on that. But right now,
fingers crossed for another extension on the wedding.
Yeah, they may have to do that because there's some people who won't be able to do their stuff because of all of that. And there might be one or two.
I know they already extended it once for server downtime, I think. So
no, actually, I think that was because of the tight timing they had, because they made it turned out that when the quest required more instances than they were expecting. Yeah, when the rappers required too many items and the calculations were a bit off, so that was a little bit too tight.
Yeah, well, here's hoping we see another extension.
Hoping to see another extension, and hoping they get the servers up, because I think Cordovan is getting exhausting. I think it's his third. He had Thursday and Friday. I think he was working until way, way late night, and I have a feeling he has another late night on him right now. Let's hope next time they get him up there, stay up. Well, let's then head on to other things, which, assuming the servers are stable enough, they're planning an update to the game next week, and the update was on Bulwer this week. I don't know if that stayed up through all this mess or on that, but here's with a list of the changes they have in there and that are planned for next week's update. The first item is housing benefits. Owners of all houses may create a yard and furniture decoration from their cosmetic pet skills.
This is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So all your cosmetic pets you can add to furniture hooks, which is really, really cool.
Oh, that's nice. Let's hang up those little firework pigs.
You can just set that out on the lawn. You can have your firework pig greeting all your visitors. You can put your giant straw out as a property guard. Like, I foresee so many really nifty combinations for this. This was really, really cool. And the next one's even better.
Yes, and next, the owners of premium houses in the Rohan neighborhood may use mount skills to create stable decorations at the specified hooks.
So you can put all your horses out on display. So awesome.
Of course,
so when do we get a Rohan premium house?
We'll go into that in a moment.
Okay.
Yes. But the Rohan neighborhoods, of course, remember, this is only going to be at the Rohan neighborhoods, not the existing neighborhoods, though. But yes, stable decorations now, so you could show off your horses and show off your cosmic pets at any house that you own. Owners of any premium house can now enjoy an individual housing chest. When opening the chest, players will have a choice of accessing either the shared housing storage at all their homes or an individual storage unique to that home.
Yay, more storage.
So therefore, the bank vault is now becoming a real bank vault?
Really? Really, really?
For the Midsummer Festival, the quest Toss a Coin will now give Wedding Festival reward rather than a Spring Festival reward. Well, I think that's a good idea. Fireflies will now spawn more quickly and in greater numbers.
Woohoo!
The House of Lore now has more wayward verses, which will all spawn more often. Well, that's also good because trying to catch wayward verses is a real pain. And that's not even counting the fact that they like to drift in such ways that they're the most dexterous wayward letters in the world. I just have to say that because they just like to evade you. Wedding supply.
Really, you have to try and figure out where they're going so you can be ahead of them when you start. At least the progress bar is short. That's the only saving grace for that quest.
Well, it still feels like it's too long because it seems like it's always half a second longer than I wished it was because it goes, boop, oh, sorry, just came out of range. Wedding supplies, quest items will spawn more often and in more places. Made it easier to interact with hungry guards and Minas Tirith. Oh, yes, because some of them go into these dramas when they stop. They're either moving, there's some of them who are either moving or when they stop, they seem to be looking back and forth as on guard, and that puts them into drama mode, so you can't interact with them then. And then adjusted the locations of beehives in Doyland, near Doyland. For gameplay, see, Argach, daughter of Thalusum, missed the first morale reduction her sisters received. Her morale is now also reduced. Fixed a problem where carry-all contents would not be visible after removing the bag from a bank or shared storage. The /loc command has been modified to include the world name. When the Cranes Bill VIP rewards is also available in Mickle-Delving, Kellendim, and Thorin's Hall.
Man, I love my vault everywhere.
Yes.
Vault
so now,
everywhere!
And now your new characters will have an easier time to get to them since your Hobbit who just started doesn't have to worry about going all the way to Bree.
Well, I mean, you get it from the housing neighborhood too.
Well, that is true. But it's harder to get to the housing neighborhood if you don't have a house. But I guess if you're an adult and you have a house, then it's
Yeah.
not as much of a problem. It's the new players. But the new players are less likely to be VIP, probably.
Really, this just means that it's more options to not have to deal with the lag in Bree.
Well, there is that too. The Boar Fountain can be quite a populated area.
I mean, it's a densely populated area at the best of times, and this isn't really the best of times for LOTRO.
Good point. And the Spear of the Storied Past will no longer unequip a shield when equipped, and will no longer override the appearance of shields when cosmetically equipped.
That seems like a weird thing that it shouldn't have been doing in the first place, so yay for the fix.
Yeah, because I don't recall LOTRO ever implementing two-handed spears.
Right?
Maybe they should have called it the Pike of the Storied Past. Yes. For housing neighborhoods, housing quests, building the Bree Homestead / There's No Place Like Home are now available if you own any type of house. As opposed to, I guess I don't know what the exact issue there on that was.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that either.
I mean, and anyone know what they're talking about here? Is it a case where the premium housing wouldn't allow you to do this, but at the other housing neighborhoods, their equivalents were working?
We haven't done those quests in a while, so I don't really know.
I
Well,
kind of thought
yeah.
those were the ones that pointed you to it in the first place.
Yeah.
So maybe it was blocking you from doing it if you already owned a house?
I don't know, because I always had the quest ring. I mean, I just ignore the quest rings usually, because I've already got
Yeah,
a
I'm
house.
just not
I
sure.
don't need the quest to point me to another housing, but okay.
Repair the kinship member travel skill. Oh, there was something wrong with it? Okay. And actually, I do wonder how it was supposed to work, because I know that when I tried hitting that travel skill, it started doing the animation for travel, but I realized, wait a minute, how does it know where I want to go? I mean, does it?
It's supposed to go to the last one that you used, but if you hadn't used it yet, I got like a weird error the first time I tried to do it because it didn't really make that clear. But from what I understand and what I've experienced, it's the last kin member house that you've traveled to is where it sends you to if you click on the button that they provided.
All right, and I guess that makes sense. I think that's consistent with what they said, but the fact that it said repaired, I wasn't sure that it was working that way. The flared hanging lantern and ornate hanging lantern housing decorations from the Midsummer Festival should now hang in an appropriate height by default when placed on a ceiling hook. An updated exclamation tooltip for the travel to kinship members housing skill. The examination tooltip, so that maybe it make it a little bit more obvious then on what's going on. All right. We also, on top of this, have a number of class changes. Now, some of them seem to be about making sure that everyone can deal with corruptions at level 20. I'm trying to think, what?
I was a little confused by this change, actually, because normally we don't even see enemies that have corruptions until we get into Moria, which is the whole point why all your corruption skills ended up at 50. I don't know if maybe that means they're going to be changing some of the lower level enemies to start having corruptions at lower levels so you can start working that stuff into your rotation and getting used to those removal skills earlier.
I have a
I don't
theory.
know. Well, there are a couple of skirmishes where I think there are a couple of skirmish lieutenants that might have corruption. And Belzadale, does that have any corruptions?
What's your theory, Guy?
Well, there's that new like VIP server that's going to have like the Eye of Sauron type of thing. I'm kind of wondering if they're gearing people up to kind of start learning how to deal with those things earlier, and it's going to be something that kind of ties in with that. Is it a
Maybe.
new VIP server, or was that during the Bombadil thing?
No, it was a
that's
different one. Yeah.
No,
Not
there's
sure.
there is another server that's coming up, and that server is supposed to be have the ISR specials thing in there. Yes, corruptions are involved with that. Or I think there might be, because I think I have run into corruptions in instances that are in a couple of scalable instances. And I have a feeling it might be related to that because people were complaining about those cases. So, which means they would either have to remove the corruptions from them, or B, gives us some means of removing corruption. So I think this is the solution to that, but I can't remember these specific instances of where they do it.
Well,
It could be the Stormwell Mythedress has maybe one or two, perhaps.
There's also a few places where the only way to kill a boss is to remove corruptions. So, like, the Halls of Lamentation, I believe it is, in the newest area, has a boss like that. And
yeah, but you got those corruption skills already for that stuff. So
yeah, but if you were on a hunter doing that, you have to wait 3 minutes between each corruption you can remove, because our main corruption removal skill before this update was the Merciful Shot that you can't use until they're under half health or under a quarter health or whatever, depending on like how you've got it. But
yeah, no, I get that. No,
if their health never goes down.
My question was more, why are they giving it to us at level 20 instead of level 50 where they were giving it?
Right. So
I mean, otherwise I understand the change is fine.
Yeah. My guess then is A, it might have to do with the ISR. B, it might be that there are one or two instances where they're coming in early, because I think I have seen it early on a couple of occasions. I just never wrote down what those occasions are.
It'll be useful.
Yeah, we'll find out. But let's go through the specific changes here. First off, Captain skill kick is now earned at level 20 instead of level 44. I hear captains all over the world cheering for this.
The other thing I noticed is that these seem to be interrupt skills.
Yeah, interrupt skills are also. Oh yeah, a lot of people.
And so getting interrupts at level 20 is fantastic.
Yeah,
definitely.
It kind of makes sense because, okay, I can't learn how to properly kick something until level 44. What?
Yeah, it's probably a basic technique that they probably teach early on in martial training.
You would think.
Yeah.
Advanced Kicking 101. What am I? Like a dancer up on stage or something? I mean,
all right, I didn't mean to interrupt you again, kindly.
It's the can. The Captain Can.
The Captain Can. The skill Cleanse Corruption is now granted at level 20, down from 50. So this is starting that pattern of corruption skills going down, because based on the name, it sounds like that's probably just about the only thing it does. An improved Threatening Shout has become Elendil's Roar. It is now granted as a base yellow line skill with a cooldown of 60 seconds. It is otherwise functionally the same as improved Threatening Shout. Threatening Shout is now earned via a second-tier yellow trait that replaces Strong Voice. It is no longer replaced by improved Threatening Shout and can be learned by non-yellow captains as well. And Elendil's Fury no longer grants a taunt effect on BOE. Instead, it reduces the cooldown of Elendil's Roar to 30 seconds and increases its AoE to 10 targets. And I must say that about half of that went over my head.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to be a captain to appreciate these changes, because I have no idea.
Any captains here can translate that into Westron?
I don't think any of us really play captains.
Then let's head to the champion, which Terry
This would have been an ideal week for Krister to show up.
Yes. For champions, the skill Clobber is now earned at level 20. In other words, interrupt skill.
Interrupt skill.
Woohoo!
And Feral Strikes is now granted at level 20, down from level 50.
Cleanse Corruption skill, because Savage Strikes is what it is before it gets replaced with Feral Strikes. So you get that one, actually get it to start with now. Used to be you didn't get it till like level 3 or 4. But High Elves have changed the way baby champions come up now, so... Anyway, go on.
The Horn of Champions now applies a force taunt effect on all targets it hits, in addition to its prior effects. And I think that's the controversial one, Terry.
Yeah, so this is the one that I was reading all kinds of complaining about on the forums. Mostly because most people seem to like this change, except they don't want it to be for all champions, they just want it for blue line champions. Which, okay, yes, get your aggro skill for your blue line, for your tanky champions, but a couple people were saying that aggro isn't even really a usable mechanic anymore, which I am not sure how valid that argument is, because I haven't gone tanking in forever, but if nothing else, I would support putting this in Redline, if only to give Redline champions a reason to waste the trait point in Ebbing Ire that we otherwise don't bother using whatsoever, because Ebbing Ire is useless because you don't build aggro as a Redline champion.
All right. Now, Horn of Champions, according to this, is a blue line skill, right? It's just that you could dip into it, I guess, is what why they're complaining about it.
I don't think so. I think they're referring...
No, because it says Horn of Champions is a martial champion trait that requires 5+ ranks in the blue line. Or I think blue line is martial, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
well, in that case, I don't know why they're complaining about it, because
you
only get in blue line.
Yeah, well, you can get it in other lines if you go down enough ranks, you know.
I guess if you go down far enough, but really, why are you going down that far if you're not trading in blue line to begin with?
Well, let's see. That's tier 2. If 5+ ranks is for tier 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Right? Because all right, yeah, it's a blue line. It's a blue line trait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, blue line trait. You get a taunt for it. I'm sure the blue line champ.
In which case, that change makes total sense, because anything you can do to increase the aggro of blue line champions has got to be appreciated, because my God, they could use the help.
Yes, because I think you've always complained about the trouble you have in getting people's attention if someone steals it from you.
Well, not complaining so much as just I got to make sure I make the group aware. If you want me to actually take this thing, you have to make sure that everything is trying to hit me in the face and not going after you, because if I lose aggro, it's next to impossible to get it back.
Right. So now here's a way to get it back.
Ish.
Yeah, it's because I know the force taunt only lasts a certain amount of time.
Well, the skill has a ridiculously long cooldown too, if I remember correctly.
Oh, there is that. All right. And Deafening Horn now increases Horn of Champions max targets +2 per point up to 10 max. Then on the Lore Master side, the skill Blinding Flash and Improved Blinding Flash are now immediate.
I straight up looked at that and thought it said Blinding Fish. I was like, Lore Masters and Blinding Fish? Is this like tier 2 fish slap? Is Blinding Fish?
I say everybody knows that that's Hobbit minstrels that have Blinding Fish.
I did. I had to blink a minute and go, oh, Flash. That's an A. Oh, my word. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Dispel Corruption is now granted at level 20, down from 50. Cooldown reduced to 30 seconds down to 25 seconds. For Minstrels, all versions of the skill Piercing Cry are now immediate. I think this is to make the interrupt skills immediate.
Yeah.
And then passive trait Purify Corruption is now granted at level 20 instead of level 50. For the Runekeeper, the skill Final Word is now earned at level 20 instead of level 30. Skills Final Word and Improved Final Word now have their cooldown reduced from 30 seconds to 20 seconds. The skill Improved Final Word now removes 1 corruption from the target. And new skill Speak No Evil removes corruptions from the target granted at level 20. And then for Wardens, a new skill Shield Slam is granted at level 20. The skill is instant, interrupts target inductions, and has a cooldown of 20 seconds.
Finally.
Yes.
Wards had interrupt, but you have to build the freaking gambit to get the interrupt, and by the time you've built the gambit, you can't interrupt it anymore. So it was really kind of useless as an interrupt.
Actually, it does well, what its biggest thing is there are some times where I feel like I'm forced to spend the entire fight because I don't know when this person's going to do this really devastating thing that needs to be interrupted. So I spend the entire fight doing nothing but spamming the interrupt-related. Actually, I just keep on building this big, long interrupt train, and I just am not running any gambits. I am just doing the builders, expecting this nasty interruptible to come up at any time, and then I shoot it off then. So that means I am cutting my DPS probably in half as a result of that because I'm not doing anything useful. I'm just continuously building this thing. And now the skill Reversal and Range Reversal is now granted at level 20 instead of level 50. And of course, Reversal is the gambit that removes corruptions.
Yep.
As for Bjornings, the skill Nature's Vengeance is now granted at level 20 instead of level 50. I will presume then that removes corruptions. And Bjornings opening a Valor's Weapon Pack 120 will now receive a bow instead of a one-handed sword.
Because they can't use swords.
Oh, okay. Oh, they can't use swords?
They can't use swords. Bears can't use swords.
Is there a reason for that? That's logical.
Technically, bears can't shoot an arrow either, unless they're human. But you know what I mean. They can swing picks, though.
Okay.
It had to do with they were limiting them to axes. I don't remember why.
May have been more of a cultural thing.
Probably,
well,
but then they ruined that by giving them bows in the first place, so whatever.
Well, the thing with cultural things is that in many cultures, swords as backup weapons, it sort of spans so many cultures in there. That's the thing, is as a backup weapon. I know they don't worry about backup weapons in LOTRO, so I guess that sort of makes the whole thing moot on that particular item. And then we go into Thunderous Roar. Base cooldown is reduced to 45 seconds. Legendary item CD reduction reduced to -15 max. Final CD 30 seconds. And Tier 5 of Opposing Presence now adds 10 seconds to Biting Edge. Cooldown was 5 seconds. For Burglars, the skill Purge Corruption is now granted at
level 20.
Yes. For Guardians, the skill Improved Sting is now granted at level 20, down from level 50.
Pause a moment there. They missed a really great opportunity there for Burglars to change the name to like Steel Corruption, because they're burglars. We're not purging anything. Let's just steal it, okay? Let's burgle it. Okay,
anyway. The challenge cooldown is now reduced by the Bellow trait, 60 down to 50, 45, 30 down, all the way potentially down to 30. And challenge set cooldown bonus reduced to -6 seconds. For the Hunter, the skill Blindside is now a ranged immediate skill with a single attack hook.
Oh my
Cooldown
god, I can't tell you how happy I was to see this change. And I don't even mean a hunter.
is now a ranged immediate skill instead of a melee skill. That's
Yeah. It's the interrupt.
Yes, the interrupt. Yes, the hunters didn't have a good interrupt. I think the only other one I can think.
Melee interrupt. The other one is what? Merciful Shot?
No, I was thinking the other interrupt were the ones that. The one that
improved dazing blow. It's also a melee skill.
I wasn't thinking of that one. Let's see. Well, Bard's Arrow would be an interrupt, but that has a cooldown like crazy, and I think a long induction. And the other one, I think there's one that gives a mez or something like that. Unfortunately, I can't think of the name.
Shot?
It might be Distracting Shot. But yeah, those are, I think, long cooldowns and long inductions on them. So I can see why Blindside it might be a better choice, because that could be it's a ranged immediate skill, and that's what you need, a ranged immediate interrupt is, I'm sure, what every hunter has been wanting.
Well, yes, because it really makes no sense to have a class that is a pew-pew, basically. That's all that they like to do is shoot things and shoot at things and make things die from arrows. And the only way that they can interrupt something is to like punch it in the face. It's like, what? No, I'm supposed to be back there.
Yeah, like you have to give up your advantage of being far away from somebody to go run up and punch it in the nose, and then go back to, and then back up again to go shoot it from a distance.
Yeah, well, Hunter's basically, it's like, okay, I'm going to sucker punch you and run and see if I can shoot you from a distance.
Yeah, actually, that's like, I think Blindside probably should have been something, that would make it easier for the hunter to get away from them rather than something that just interrupts. Yes, that is a rather strange one, yes. The skill, Blood Arrow, is now available at level 20 instead of level 50. Something tells me that was removing corrupt. Oh, no. Oh, they added the ability to remove corruptions. It didn't do it before, but now it would. The skill, Merciful Shot.
Merciful Shot, because Merciful Shot was kind of ridiculous to have corruption removal on.
Yes, because Merciful Shot is designed to be a finishing blow, basically. So if it's acting as a finishing blow, then removing corruptions is sort of moot. You remove them permanently.
It's like, let's just remove this corruption permanently.
Yes. And forcing hunters to enter melee combat in order to use their interrupt skill isn't something we wanted to continue doing. Okay, they even added that line themselves about. Yeah, they finally figured out how ridiculous that was.
This hunter, for one, thanks you for that.
Yes. This is another hunter that does too.
I also thank you for that as a hunter.
Yes. And as for bug fixes, various trees are no longer growing in the middle of boulders in southern arid Luine. Various spawns in a section of the bone bales will no longer occur underground.
I thought they already fixed that. The potatoes.
For real this time.
Well, I guess for real. Oh.
Yes.
Before it was just, okay, maybe one potato we fixed, but now they fixed all the potatoes everywhere.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4.
Potato 4. You don't have to dig them up anymore. No, okay.
Yes. Terrain seam in the Red Horn Gate has been fixed. Floating debris in Gorthod has been removed. Fixed a typo in the quest All Fired Up.
Hold on. Floating debris that was just floating in midair?
I was supposed so.
I haven't. I was just like, wait a minute. Or is it like floating on water? It has to be midair, because if it's floating on water, it can stay there. That's what happens is, floating debris for water.
It depends what type of debris it is. There's some types of debris where floating on water is perfectly natural. There are other types of debris. I mean, if it's boulders.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, that's a fake boulder. I think it's made out of styrofoam. Middle Earth styrofoam.
The styrofoam
Someone's
of Middle Earth.
polluting. Yeah, the styrofoam in Middle Earth. Man, just look at it. It's all over the surface. We need to clean it up. This is environmentally unsound.
Well, that might explain how come we're able to pick up all those boulders when you're out at the Towers of the Teeth doing those quests.
Oh, good call.
Yes. And then we fixed the typo in the quest All Fired Up and removed the custom appearance setting from the Dimrill Dale Stablemaster so that he no longer looks like an escapee from the Foundations of Stone.
That one made me giggle.
I never got to see it, alas. I hope someone took screenshots because I was kind of hoping.
It's a few more days before these go live.
Yeah, this is just a borrower notes. It's not live yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I might have to slip to the Dimrill Dale so I can go stare at the stable master and giggle.
So it looks like the Foundation. Glob's Naga Stable Master.
I mean, they did say they wanted to diversify the stable master appearances, but that was quite their intention.
Wait, wasn't that like a whole quest thing that the things in the Foundations of Stone were trying to get out of come out into the world? Maybe we missed one.
Disguised itself as a stable master. And that's it for the Bulwark preview. They are hoping to have this up in the middle of next week, but if the servers stay in an unstable state, it's possible they may decide to change that. We will have to see. Let's then head into the LOTRO Beacon issue 168, where our front portrait is that of Aragorn and Arwen dancing at the banquet.
In sync, not out of sync.
In sync, yeah.
Oh man, you guys, I just realized Cordovan, he didn't do a LOTRO Beacon last week, and all of a sudden the servers went down. Obviously, conspiracy theory time. They're linked. Obviously, no, not really. I don't know, but
but the reason why there was one last week is because Cordovan was on vacation. So the fact that he was on vacation, it could be linked. The servers missed him, and they were mourning it, and it's taking them time to.
How dare you go away? We're all going to go on strike, except you ones who are like, not us, we're not.
Well, except for one of them. Yeah, there was that. Let's head into the community spotlight. Weatherstock has been postponed. That's not in the beacon, but I'm just changing what it says for Weatherstock because it has been postponed until next week, assuming they decide that the servers are stable enough in order to actually hold it.
Actually, they were talking about having it the 25th, but the next entry there, the Belagir pool party, a lot of the bands that were going to be at Weatherstock are also involved with that. So it looks like it's been postponed until they can find a good weekend. It may even be in August.
Well, it would have to be in August if it's not by July 25th by definition.
Much later on, they got to try to find a good weekend.
Thank you for updating that. Yes, because that was the next entry, and there was the Belagir is getting ready for a pool party on July 25th. And that is, conflicting with Weatherstock. So I can understand why they'd want to do it. They would want to find a time that's not conflicting with another major event there. Metal Dome brings the metal to Gwaihir next week. So Gwaihir is also having their own little party there next week. And Gladden will be getting a sparring tournament in mid-August. So you could read there more about that at King Aragorn's Name Day tournament. Five Jedi's Midsummer Festival Guide has arrived, and you can check the Midsummer's Guide to tell you about all these quests in Minas Tirith. Brandy has released a Midsummer Festival Guide for German language readers. So if you speak German and have trouble understanding Five Jedi's guide, then perhaps Brandy's will be of service to you. And Laurelyn has created a checklist to make sure that you don't miss quest bestower NPCs during the Midsummer's event.
Or you can, on the other hand, avoid the ones that are really, really annoying, like the lady with the ring. Or the Wayward Pages.
Well, the Wayward Pages, though, after next week's update, should be easier to do.
Yes.
In theory.
In theory.
Yes, there is still the thing about these drifting pages dodging your every attempt to catch them. For the Kinhall, the Warriors of Camelot is a rank 10 kinship on Glen that likes to keep it fun and casual. The kin has an island with a complete crafting center, vaults, vendors, and more. And you can click there to check out their website. And as for our weekly comment, what is your favorite part of the Midsummer Festival?
Finally finishing. I'm sorry. Did I say that aloud?
3 more days. I just need the servers to stay up for 3 more days.
Yeah, I'm actually going through the little individual like side quests in the Methrund feast hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through those. Yeah. So I'm just trying to get through those.
I'm already banqueteer, but
yeah, I need to be a banqueteer.
But
if not this year, then maybe next year. We shall see. I mean, it's all up to the servers.
Yes.
It's out of my hands.
Unfortunately, I haven't had time to do banquet stuff or wedding stuff this week, and of course, servers being contrary on Landrel and Crick Hollow didn't exactly help that either. So I have to decide. As for favorite part of the festival, I would guess yes. The whole thing about seeing all these little vignettes during the banquet by the various members of the fellowship, at least the ones that I've seen so far.
It almost feels like, and I know it's probably because it is, but it almost feels like the whole like this is the wrap up of these people's stories, because we're at when you do that, by the time you're timeline wise, by the time you get to the wedding of Aragorn and Arwen, there's really not much for the main story that's left for these people except getting married or going back home,
Well, I do not believe that the next update will involve Samwise's wedding, because I think that's a few more updates.
Because that would rule. A little Hobbit wedding, man.
We'll have to do the Scouring of the Shire first.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying. But it kind of feels like that, Faramir, and he's decided to.
That wedding.
Yeah, there's that one. The one with Lothiriel. So there's a bunch of weddings that are that are ostensibly supposed to happen now that evil has been vanquished. Spoiler alert, the good guys win. But it seems like at this Midsummer Festival there's a lot that it just kind of feels like it's kind of like, okay, we're wrapping up these stories because we're probably not going to like see Faramir's wedding or
oh man, I hope we do.
I know,
that
but
would be a fun wedding to go to.
Yeah,
especially if they have it in Rohan.
Yeah, it should be in Rohan.
That should totally be in Edoras. And yeah, that would be a fun city to run around in. doing wedding stuff.
But it does kind of to me.
The ministerial.
Yeah. But it does feel a bit to me like it's kind of like, okay, a lot of these people are no longer going to have, much in the way of like to do unless we kind of go, like flashbacks or whatever. So it's almost like it's kind of like tying up a lot of loose ends. And once they go home, that's, it's like after this, we're probably not going to have much to do with them anymore. So everybody's living happily ever after, the end. And yeah, that's kind of what it feels like to me with this. So, I don't know.
See, I took it completely differently because they mentioned, okay, so spoilers for people who haven't actually finished the wedding storyline. I actually kind of feel like with the references to the Corsairs and the Castamere thing, how they were bringing that up again, I was wondering if maybe they're going to send us in that direction next. Like, okay, this is over with. Now let's go this way because obviously this is still a problem.
Yeah. And so, we've still got to, go find Jajax. But I mean, that's beside the point.
I'm for that.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll be going off in a completely different direction. And according to, the story, like Sam and Frodo and, and Merry and Pippin, they're going back home. And there's the Shire stuff to worry about. So we may not get that right away. Or we may do that and then go down, to deal with the Corsairs and, Castamere and all that. But, there's several different...
Didn't the devs say at one point that they were nowhere near doing scouring stuff, so that we were probably not going to be doing that at any point in the near future?
See, I thought I'd heard that too.
Well, I'm sure that the scouring is going to be mid to late Volume 5, and we're in very early Volume 5.
Yeah, like we just started Volume 5.
Yeah.
Right, because we could fit, I suspect that the end of Volume 5 will be the Grey Havens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they also mentioned that Mordor is still a problem. I mean, that was explicitly mentioned that, yeah, we're not done there yet.
See, Lareth is still alive, I believe.
Yes, Lareth is still alive. Lareth is still a problem. Especially given everything that happened in the Morgul Vale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't actually think that it's a goodbye anytime really soon. I mean, the characters might think that it's kind of a goodbye for them, and they might be feeling nostalgic for home, but I don't actually see them going anywhere yet. Because there's still stuff to do and roles that they have to play.
Doralyn actually mentioned Theoden's funeral.
Yeah, Theoden's funeral.
Yeah.
Whenever we get back up to Rohan. You have a funeral and a wedding, it'll be great. You can do all the drinking.
3 weddings and
all the drinking.
Kind of.
I mean, you do bunches of drinking for Theoden's funeral, and you do more drinking for the weddings, and you're then really, really hungover. You run into Jajax and go to Umbar. You wake up on a boat. Wake up on a boat heading to Umbar. There you go. There's how our story plays out. That's how we wind up dealing with what's left of the heirs of Castamere. Sorry, LOTRO devs, if I just guessed at what you were planning. Otherwise, you're welcome if I just inspired you.
I have a feeling that Maid of Lions already has a basic script.
Oh, I'm sure Maid of Lions already knows where the story is going. Because Maid of Lions is awesome.
With that done, let's head into the fan site news. Last week we did some cliff diving. And Enlightened Beacons has returned with a new show. You could click for episode 105. Learning LOTRO has a new discussion on player music. Rehar Rayharl 2 is a new player to both LOTRO and Twitch and is running French language streams. LOTRO Stream is your first stop. To find LOTRO on Twitch this week, you check out LOTRO, the Balville edition, Skymanic's Great Journeys Against the Evil, and Gondor Has No Druids. And also on Twitch, Emperor 13 TV starts playing. Kalilist streams to French language players, and Druid's Fire brings you the Weatherstock concert series. And over on YouTube, Kan Sungur streams the game for Turkish language players. The Kings shows off a kinship house, and Dragonfly Mage brings you Angmar Ambience. Now, how many languages have I heard on people playing? Because we have a lot of Russian players because there used to be Russian servers. We have, of course, French and German because we have that. Let's see. We've of course heard about the Polish community. This is the first I've heard of the Turkish community. I mean, are there 100 different languages of which people are playing LOTRO?
Possibly.
Sure, why not?
Why not? There you go. I'm sure there is a stream or a YouTube series somewhere for your language if you speak it. Well, at least if it's a national level language. I suspect provincial languages might be less likely. And then someone will tell me that they are, oh yeah, sure, yes, I do a regular stream in Provence. Let's then head into the screenshot of the week where Lunedhelm captures an important moment at the Great Wedding in this week's screenshot of the week. Thank you, Lunedhelm, for sending us this image where we have a small number of fireworks going off.
Yeah, small number of fireworks. Stupid wizard.
Just a few.
Just a few.
A handful. They're small.
A small handful. I'm sorry I don't have enough. Let's then head into our store sales. Terry Adwin, what's on sale this week?
Let's see. Well, for regular sales, we've got 25% off stat tomes, regen food, run speed boost, and attack damage boost. Now through July 23rd. The weekly coupon gets you a free tactical mitigation tome times 25 for 90 minutes with coupon code TACTMIT25. And our summer sales this week, we've got 35% off account-wide mounts, yay horses, 50% off high elves and stupid bears, and 75% off the premium wallet, which is a great buy if you're not VIP.
Tactical mitigation tome times 25?
For 90 minutes.
Because usually you get 1 or 5. That's what I'm saying. 25, that's that's quite a number there. Then let's into our site news, where we have an article by Squirrel called A Better Helm's Deep, where he looks at the new storied instances. I did not read this article because I want to avoid spoilers relating to this, because I know that they relate to Helm's Deep, obviously, but I figure I'm going to be taking my Honor character to there when they open up the Helm's Deep area for the legendary servers.
I think they have. I saw something about that they had opened some of that to the legendary servers, and I want to say it was Helm's Deep, but I can't remember now.
No,
Helm's Deep is not opening till next week.
Servers.
Next week? Okay.
Well,
so what was it that they opened
with the next update?
So what was it that they opened for the legendary servers that was dealing with Rohan? Or were they just announcing that it would be next week?
They announced that it is tentative schedule for next. It is scheduled to open up with 27.2.
Okay.
Now, 27.2 is currently scheduled for next week, but as we know, the current state of the servers, we're not going to. I would not recommend betting huge amounts of money on it happening next week. We hope it happens next week. What?
So I got a penny. He said, no huge amounts of money. So here's a peppermint. But no, I remembered seeing something before the servers started acting a fool about legendary servers and something, something like that. I didn't know if this was like an announcement that it was for next week or what it was. But yeah.
Yeah. Next week. Okay. Of course, as you said, that little thing was said just before these big troubles. But I think they're still shooting for it. It's just that servers aren't at their best at the moment. And it might be a bad time to do an update. It depends on the call that they make up there.
Dorlin makes note that Anor has been the most stable server, probably because it's only VIP.
Well, that's a positive. Because I noticed that a lot of the servers that are giving troubles have hefty populations, maybe? I don't know about that. Because I noticed that I don't know about because I think Creek Hollow has a sizable population. Let's see. I know Landreval does. Let's see. Brandywine is noted as usually mean the first one to go with lag. I don't know, but I would think though that Evernight would actually. I think Evernight is one of the ones that gives trouble on it. There's sometimes isn't Evernight the?
It's the one that's
main
closed.
English one. What?
It's closed. It's one of the ones that's closed.
Right. Yeah. Because Evernight is the main English server.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. So it could have to do with the population of the server or something like that, and that the VIP servers are a little bit more stable. Now, the other possibility is that the VIP servers are newer. But last year, they upgraded the hardware on most of the servers. Actually, on all.
That was what I thought, was they went through a hardware upgrade on, like, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, given the number of EU servers versus all of the US servers, there's got to be something to that.
There's the same number of EU servers to US servers.
Well, I know, but the ones that have gone down.
5 of each.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is related, but usually weird things happen when data center work happens, and over on the other game, they are currently going through the same process that LOTRO went through last fall in upgrading all their server stuff. And I wonder if the data center people were moving things around in order to accommodate that.
Possible?
I had heard that DDO is having some problems too.
Well, yes, but you would think though that Standing Stone, you're the most likely because they are in the same data center.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's related to that or if it's completely unrelated or anything like this. But sometimes sneezing near a data center server can bring it down or something.
So we're going to start those rumors about, okay, I sneezed on my computer and gave it the Rona. Okay, so mask your computers up and social distance.
Anyway, we know. Anyway, we all know that Lareth is responsible for the Rona, so.
He made me choke on my water.
But anyway, but back to what I was saying here, I've not read Squirrel's article because I'm hoping to experience it myself before reading that article.
Oh, I read it. It's actually a fairly succinct summary of what happens during the. Basically, they streamline the story so that instead of standing around for 20 minutes waiting for stuff to happen and not actually knowing where you're going. Like, now you have an NPC to actually follow. And he suggested that it actually works better as a tutorial than the crappy tutorial that Epic Battles have. So,
all right, we'll have to see that. It's
I don't know how accurate that is because I haven't done them. However, the next character that I take through Rohan, whenever that happens to be, I will make sure to do it on a character that hasn't already done Epic Battles so that I can experience story mode.
Yes, and that will be my plan also. And of course, seeing that the next character I'm taking through there is most likely going to be the one who is on Honor, is very definitely would be someone who hadn't experienced Epic Battles yet.
Yeah, I don't play on Honor.
Now let's then head into our next little bit. We have some fan fiction here called A Berg's Tale, and this appears to be a prologue, and I found out about this about 5 minutes before we began the show. Apparently I missed a memo somewhere.
Yes. Sorry.
Well, Calabathian, you have anything to say about this that's not going to be spoilers? I guess you could have your teaser or anything like that.
It's based off of my character Morkendir, my burglar. Kind of the prologue's going to be a little bit of his background. I've got chapter 1 scheduled already to be posted next Saturday morning, early in the morning. It's going to be ongoing and continuing, and it's going to just kind of be his, I guess you'd say, his adventures. Sometimes it'll be more of a diary type of, this is kind of what happened. It'll be kind of based off of the game. Other times it may actually be more fanfic oriented, where it doesn't appear in the game, but it's like kind of in between here and there. Things may happen. I may bring in some co-writers to interact with their characters and stuff like that. Sarissa. And that sort of thing. But yeah, it's just something that I kind of felt the need to kind of put out there. I started writing it, and then I realized he kind of had a little interesting background, and everybody who plays the game, they kind of, the story itself kind of forces you into this role of, you're happy to do all this stuff, and it doesn't ask questions, like you're in the middle of Arquette, and it's like, oh, we're getting attacked, and it's like, why is nobody giving me a horse to ride if time is of the essence? It's questions like that. We just kind of gloss over that.
Why am I still here for this and I didn't run away?
Yeah. Why am I still here? It's like, okay, why are you trusting me with this? Do I have a trustworthy face? I am not trustworthy. I am a burglar.
Yeah, it's especially,
you're a professional scout.
Yeah,
exactly. Because Sarissa had some of the same issues going through various bits of story. Not these explicit bits that are mentioned, but there were some instances in Rohan where it's like, why? At what point did I look like I was a trustworthy person for this? Because they do. They all treat you like you're really trustworthy. And I'm like, why? Because really? Okay.
It's like,
especially calling you a burglar.
So yeah, it's like your reputation
they call you a burglar.
So low. For a lot of these places, your reputation is so low. It's like you have to win their trust. It's like, you're unknown to these people. And so I just kind of wanted to kind of do that with his background and, his motivations, and kind of play in the world without really kind of being trapped by the story. Why does this guy, who has absolutely no reason to help these people, actually do so? How does he become this the person that, you're supposed to become when you go through this storyline. It's like you're, world renowned and well respected. And it's like, okay, I was literally stabbing someone in the back like 3 months ago. And
5
I
minutes
saved
ago.
the world. I mean, it's, it's like, okay, let me sneak up on this goblin and pick his non-existent pocket. We try not to think about that. But, yeah, so there's a lot of this type of thing that, I kind of, especially with a burglar, because you don't become a burglar for any kind of happy reasons. Just like you don't really go on adventures just for any really happy reasons. I don't care what the hobbits say. I'm bored. I'm going on an adventure. No, most people are forced out of their happy, content lives, and that's where the adventure starts. I mean, they're uprooted. And yeah, it seems like in a lot of cases it makes more sense for somebody called a champion, or a warder, a guardian, to do these heroic things than a burglar. So I kind of wanted to explore that and kind of go through, but I also wanted to throw out, at least in the prologue, where he came from and what has guided him, and very briefly, because that kind of thing, until now, until we get into the story itself with chapter 1, which, because it's based off of, it's one of the ones that is actually based on the actual storyline of the game. And so it's a bit long. It's a little too long to actually have a lot of dialogue involved, more than just, this is how he felt as he was doing this, and what was going on. Because it's the intro section, and that's really a lot of stuff to go through. Because I mean, you wind up, going, from like level 5 to like, 10 or something, and just like this one little Arquette episode. And that's just because he's a man. If he were something else, he would actually be starting out differently. But yeah, so I'm just like, you know what? Why is this dude doing what he's doing? Who does he meet along the way to help him to get him to this point where, volume 5, he's standing in the middle of Minas Tirith, which he promised he would never step foot in again, for a wedding, of this guy who, he when he first meets him, he's like, this ranger is fixing to abandon us to our death for what some apparently more important reason, and he wants to act all noble, and suddenly, he's the king of Gondor and he's getting married, and so there's a lot of stuff in between then and there. So yeah, it's a burglar's tale, aka I will stab you if I have to. And so yeah, I'll go through there, and then of course I'll probably post any kind of lyrics to songs that I write, which, by the way, and that's for Glompla, and I've actually got one that I'll probably set up to post tomorrow morning. But just the lyrics to the true tale of Leland's Lunch.
Okay. So
Yep.
he likes Sarissa. I mean, he likes Sarissa is the other minstrel.
No. Glompla is her minstrel.
Yeah, Glompla
okay.
is a minstrel, and I'm just mentioning that. I'm also going to probably do some of that, but
Okay.
yeah, it's not going to be as often as I'll probably do for Morkendeer. I'm going to try to get one a week for him, and it's yeah. But no, just basically a little thing out for Glompla's lyrics is, by the way, if anybody wants to set it to music, once you see the lyrics, go for it. Just let me hear it. But yeah, Morkendeer, the burglar, is that's the prologue. We're going to do what we can there as much as possible, provided they don't try to force me to go back and teach in the middle of classes and kill me with corona. But I'll be doing what I can.
Yes. And that's it for for site news. So let's then head into our week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, Terry finally went through the wedding. Finally.
Yay!
It was only out for like 3 weeks before I actually got to do it on Terry. I had done it on another character. I just hadn't actually done it on Terry. And Terry focused specifically on wedding stuff, not side quest stuff. And I was okay right up until Grimbjorn showed up with his entourage. And then I started swearing at people. Stupid bear. It wasn't so much the bear as it was the entourage. I was so irritated. But it's done. It's done. It's out of the way. Don't have to do it again on that character. I will be doing it on pretty much every other character, at least the epic story portion of it, because you all know how much I love the story. I really do love the story. I had a great time through a lot of it. Mithrandir got slapped a couple of times. Not even fish slapped, just straight up slapped. Like when he's being a downer at the middle of the wedding ceremony, it's like, really,
Yes.
dude?
Oh my gosh.
He was the worst person to pick to do the wedding ceremony. I mean, honestly, it's supposed to be a happy occasion, and here he is being Debbie Downer.
He's supposed to be Gandalf the White, not Gandalf the Gloomy.
right? Just so. And I have screenshots of Rangers because it was great seeing Rangers. That's actually probably my favorite part of the wedding was seeing the Rangers and figuring out who all is still alive. Which is a little bit spoilery if you haven't done all of the other stuff. Although I will note Ceradan was not at the wedding, and we know Ceradan's still alive, or as far as we know, he's still alive because he headed north for reasons. Yeah, so
Good save. He headed north with reasons.
yeah, he headed north for reasons.
Redacted.
Well, actually, it's interesting because if you go through the Wildemore bits of the epic and do the session plays that are unlocked by story bits, you can kind of revisit with the Rangers, and you have a session play. You're not as Ceradan, you're with whoever it was that went with Ceradan, whose name I'm totally blanking on right now. And that's really interesting. I've actually done the session series on 2 characters. I think I did it on Sarissa, and I did it on Challenge Mini, which nets you a really nice cosmetic set. Just saying. Speaking of cosmetics, Sarissa, speaking of burglars, Sarissa is the one who did she hasn't actually done the wedding epic. She did all of the other stuff. She did all the Midsummer stuff, except obviously she hasn't done the Marathon stuff because she hasn't been through the wedding. And got enough to get both of the emotes and some cosmetics. So I have a fancy dress, which none of my characters proceeded to wear, but well, Terry wore armor to the wedding because Terry has like 7 cosmetic slots and they're all full of armor. Just different looks. She has slightly dressier armor that she wore to the wedding and a slightly less dressy armor that she wore to the feast. Because, champion.
She's not the only one. How many of them were wearing armor up in there? It's like, really?
Really? I mean, the only people that... obviously, Arwen wore a dress because Arwen... And it was fun doing that read out loud because I actually made Pineleaf crack up when I was reading the Arwen bits because I did my Diffie Elf voice, which is always hilarious. Because you talk like this, except in about 2 octaves higher. But it was really breathy and really high, and Pineleaf was laughing. So, yeah. And what else did I do? Oh, yeah, because... So most of the servers that I normally play on have been up and down. So I logged into my Laurelyn Terry earlier today and discovered I left her in Rohan doing Broadacre's stuff, and she progressed through some more of the Broadacre's stuff. She did the Torsbury instance, which I've had issues with that instance on characters in the past. Of course, I have no trouble with whatsoever on the champion, because you're not going to worry about stuff. You're not going to worry about being squishy on a champion. I mean, that was not the problem that I had. Actually, I didn't really have any problems. It was it's the smoothest run I've had of the instance in a long time, because champion. And she made it to level 95 and is back in Stoke. So, ready to hopefully finish up Broadacre stuff, except I still have some more things to do before I can uncover a certain conspiracy and move on to the next area. But yeah, that was my week. Calabathian, how about you?
So, other than the Morkendeer stuff, we tried to steal a club used to hurt hobbits on Morkendeer as part of his training as a Berg. It took 2 tries, which does not bode well for the world's darkest assassin. But yeah, the second time worked out much better, and you know, I even got to keep the weapon. You know, it's like a burglar's friend is what it's called. I'm like, I guess so. I also with the field trip created a new bear to run on Laurelin with the Academy, since the games keep chewing on servers. But when we got there were all the bears. Now, not just us, because we all decided to run as a pack of bears, new baby bears, as a matter of fact. But we had people coming in from Arkenstone, because someone was like, who all's here from Arkenstone? And it's like they were all bears. We were in Arquette, and there was bears everywhere, and it's like, where are they coming from?
Stupid bears.
So yeah, apparently there were some people from Arkenstone who had made bears on Laurelin to play, and we were just like, hey, hi. Toward the end, we were all outside the gates of Arquette, doing the bear dance in bear form, hopping around, and I think a lore master joined us, who was not a bear, but he had a bear pet, so we were all just jumping around in circles, and it was just fun. So yeah, it was a bear party. How about you, Arendis? How was your week?
My week was good. Wasn't able to do much before the servers went down, but I did get to level 71 of my Landreval champion. So it's the highest level character that I've leveled up without using like a Valar boost or anything like that. Made it to Galtrev for the first time, so that was pretty cool. I was also able to do some deeding, and I got the Shadow Foe title, which was pretty fun. But that was pretty much it. Guarendis, how was your week?
Well, early in the week, I finished treat deliveries and got the title Tinder of Beasts. This is the Rosgabel dailies and all of that. And good riddance, Radagast. I actually gave away all my extra treats and any of the things I'd fished up to Sanswinda so she can finish it even easier if she wants. And I will totally still go with you on delivery rounds if you want. But that's provided that they get the servers stable. But early in the week too, maybe the same day, I think these were both Monday, I ran Scourges in Mortar Besieged with Amalora and Emeralina, and we got all 8 of the regular ring wraiths done, and we met the Witch King, and that was a bit of a challenge. And after one of us wiped and then come back, and another would wipe and come back, and it finally got to the point where we all wiped, and we went, oh, okay. And decided to call a captain. Baldric, after his typist got off work that evening, came with us, and all 4 of us together managed to get the Witch King, and then we went back and got the other ones that he hadn't had yet, so he could get the title too. So I'm now a Bane of the 9. Towards the end of the week, of course, I was battling the server outages like everyone else, and was trying to get prepped for Weatherstock. That was going to be my first major performance, really, with the Remediators. And of course, that ended up postponed earlier today. It was looking good. They actually did have a gathering on top of Weathertop today that they were calling Weather Crash. Partly for the server crashes, but also just because we just decided to crash Weathertop anyway. And there were some bands playing there, so that was a lot of fun. But of course, towards the end of the day, regular daytime day, Landerval went down. So later on this evening, I looked around and decided for a while now I wanted characters on Laurelin and on Crick Hollow to be able to go to musical festivals and performances on there. Those are the two other big ones besides Landerval. So I started a Gorindus on Laurelin, and she just dinged level 12 right before I logged off and came over here to do the podcast. So Sans Window, what did you get up to this week?
I don't think I've done anything that everybody else hasn't, or somebody else hasn't done. I guess not everybody did everything, but I made a Bjorning on Laurelin during the field trip with Calabathian and Pineleaf and the other folks on the field trip, and that was fun. I was really surprised by how many other Bjornings there were in Archit. It was really funny. Like, every other person you saw, you're like, Bjorning. Oh, look. Hey, there's 2 more Bjornings standing over there talking to John Brackenbrook. Oh, hey, look. There's another Bjorning just ran past. Oh, nope. That one's the Lore Master. Oh, hey, look. Another Bjorning. But, yeah, we killed lots of things, and the spiders died, despite my reluctance to continue pursuing them, or go back in there. We made it through, and we're out, and we don't have to see spiders again for a long time! I hope. And then got some new cosmetic cloaks and a title in Mordor Besieged with Amalora, running around chasing the scourges, and that was a lot of fun. Kind of fun to see how many we could kill with just 3 people, so. And it was all of them. We just had to be a little bit careful with some of the pulls. Except for the Witch King, which required 4. But that hardly counts.
I have to admit, though, with us being on Laurelin, I felt so nice because I actually have my main there, and she's like level 117, 118. And so everyone was coming on there, and I'm like, I'm finally a high level for once, and y'all are not. I can totally, like, just go everywhere with you.
Thanks for graciously, rolling a brand new character in that circumstance.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, I only have, 3 there, and, the other 2 I don't usually play. So, I mean, hey, I'm just glad you guys were on there. That's all. It
was fun. I need to play there more often. And then I did some more deliveries for Radagast, and some festivaling, and fish slapped at least 2 wizards. I think just 2 wizards, actually. One of them more than the other. But
who's counting?
Right? Yeah, they didn't react
I'm sure
negatively,
they deserved
but
it.
They totally deserved it. Yeah, Radagast
sure
is like,
it.
I can tell that this animal is in distress on the other side of the map, but I couldn't do anything about those spider people when there were just, one of them. Anyway, I helped him anyway. And that was pretty much my week, because the servers were down a lot of the time that I wanted to play. So, how was your week, Pineleaf?
Let us begin with Honor, where I completed the Ranger interludes that Terry Edwin was talking about earlier. So I ran through.
Oh, yeah, the session plays. Those are great.
Yes, I finished up all those session plays, and that is the last of what I wanted to do on Honor for Wildermore. So, yay! Well, I guess technically there's finishing up all those deeds and stuff like that. Oh boy. Painful trying to get rid of them. But right now, I'm in Nona's Cave, and there is nothing that is going to extract me from Nona's Cave until that update's good, because it is such a pain sometimes getting to Nona's Cave. So I said, all right, I'm just going to stay here until that update comes out, and then we'll resume from there, because at the end of the last of those session plays, I says, "All right, that's it for season 5. You can tune in for season 6 when Western Rohan comes out." So I finished up a season on the complete Pineleaf series. Now my main warden on Crick Hollow completed the Floods of Langflood content, which was a bit tricky considering the state of Crick Hollow. And that was real tricky trying to finish that all up because the trouble started before I had finished that all up. So I had to get in the morning, and I managed to get in a session in the morning. Good thing I decided to try that in the morning and not risk trying to do it at night, because Crick Hollow has been in a pretty bad shape for a lot of this week. But my main warden did finish up all of those quests, and I guess there's technically the daily still to do, but I am not doing that for the YouTube series, so I don't care about. I might go back and do some of those quests just to see what it is, but I'm definitely not going to be recording any of that stuff. I'm just taking a rest, maybe going back to the wedding to do some stuff on the wedding, assuming the server can get up to a stable state, and wait for the fall when Gundabad comes, or actually it's when the next step to the storyline for the dwarves comes out, whenever that is. And then finally, during the actually a Friday night fight is what I wanted to talk about there. For the Friday night fight, we created new characters on Honor and ran the intro there. So that means yesterday I had 2 cases of making new characters on a different server, because the field trip is normally on Arkenstone, so we held the field trip on Laurelin, and the Friday night fights are traditionally held on Langerville, which was also down last night, and we decided to run on Honor, since Mythgard Kinship does have a presence on Honor, even though we haven't done much there. And of course, once we got out of the intro, there was this big question: all right, now, how do we get into the kin? Because I'm an officer on Langerville, but not on Honor, so I couldn't go onto Pineleaf to invite people in. So we have a couple of holes that we need to fill in on how we're going to handle all of that stuff. And that's it for my week in LOTRO. Now, in news beyond LOTRO, we have another article by Darren Loremaster, Elasterion, and the White Towers, and this is providing then the lyrics and the melody for another one of his tribute pieces of music. And that is it for that. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you wish to support us without joining Patreon, you could send a message to Drac at lotraplayers.com. The Players Alliance did not receive any emails this week. If you like since when, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. You can also host a Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, and Calabathian at Calabathian. No more Nina Shell?
I changed it.
Ah!
I gave in. I admitted my nerddom. I changed it just last night. I'm still knitting.
Oh, did you just create a second channel, or did you change the name of the existing one?
I changed my name on the existing one. I'm leaving my Instagram one because most of my knitter friends I keep in touch with over there anyway. So
Okay, then you have that.
yeah, but I follow like 90 some different LOTRO related users on Twitter. I might as well just give in.
And follow that on Twitter. All right, I guess that makes some sense. The Players Alliance has 3 live shows. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And for XP Quest, follow at XP Quest on Twitter to find out when the shows go live. Just remember, though, XP Quest is not finally friendly. If you'd like to join our shows, you could go to lotrplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Poly Needles reminding you to socialize responsibly.